side of perhaps making the line of control irrelevant in a certain area, again you're talking of a solution. So it's been a long struggle, it's been a protracted conflict, and it's going to take time to reach resolution. And I think we should give this process that time. But somewhere in all this, there is a solution. I'm very optimistic.
Let me ask you now about the government of Pakistan and its future. Now, the United States, in its foreign policy, is promoting democracy very strongly.
Yes.
But of course, democracies don't always give you what you would wish for. If there were an election, an open election in Pakistan today, a general election, what do you think the likely results would be, and would they be results that the United States would like? Particularly, I'm thinking about the Islamist parties and their influence.
Yes, I think regardless of what kind of results turn up, the push will be for absolutely free and fair elections. And I think the United States has a record of accepting governments which come up through elections, even if the United States doesn't necessarily like them. So I think the US will accept the election results, whoever comes up through free and fair elections. And I think if there are free and fair elections, as they are bound to be, and a lot of work is going on to level the playing field for everybody, I think the results will be very balanced, and you won't have a lopsided or a particular element necessarily coming in to dominate. So it's going to be a balanced, it's going to be a good turnout for one, and it's going to be a very balanced result, in my opinion. And I think the US will accept that.
So what is your assessment of the place and the influence of the Islamist parties in Pakistan today?
Well, the Islamist parties are not in any way anti-Pakistan. They are...
But are they anti-US?
No, they are not anti-US. Many of them have visited the United States, their leadership. The US has been in touch with them for years and years. They are not anti-US. They may be taking a stance for the elections, and because the last time elections were held, they did have a better showing than ever before, because events were so recent and they could get votes. But as we've moved along and as things have changed, I think there's a sense of responsibility. They have a government in one of our provinces, the frontier province, which has performed very well. It hasn't done anything to hinder the US-Pakistan relationship. It hasn't done anything to muddy the waters as far as the war on terror is concerned. So I think the Islamist parties should take part, they should come in mainstream, and I think they will be a responsible segment of the government. Their traditional position has been something like 3 to 4% of the vote, which jumped up in the last elections to, I think, 11 or 12 or maybe more %. And now, with more parties participating, we have to see where they stand. But I think it's important that they come mainstream. You'll find them to be responsible people once they are in positions of responsibility.
Let me change now to nuclear proliferation. Dr. A.Q. Khan, the father of the Pakistani nuclear weapon, nuclear bomb, is a national hero. And yet he was involved in the proliferation of nuclear technology. I think that's clearly established, to Libya certainly, and perhaps also to Iran and North Korea. Is Pakistan's nuclear technology secure today? Do we have to worry about the further possibility of nuclear proliferation coming from Pakistan?
Let me very categorically give you the strongest possible assurance that the steps that Pakistan's taken in terms of legislation, export controls and so on, that the discussions that we've had with the US, with the IAEA, with the nuclear suppliers group and so on, have all been to give the assurance that this is a country which is very responsible, which understands what happened and which has taken every possible measure to safeguard its assets in terms of security. And when we talk of security, we are obviously talking about unauthorized access. We are talking about subversion from within. We are talking of unauthorized use or something like that, or a leakage of information or material. There is absolutely no possibility of that ever happening in the future. A very strong command and authority is now, command and control authority is in place.
So we're talking not just about legislation, but measures on the ground,
we are talking
procedures.
About actual physical measures taken to physically secure those assets, to ensure storage of weaponry, risking their lives to do these things. I think that's come to an end now. It came to an end in 1998, really, when we went overt with the whole thing. And it's come to an end now. And now our thrust is that don't bring us under more pressures, don't treat us as a target, make us a partner, recognize our nuclear status, and we are ready to come in on all international regimes once that happens.
Now, as a nuclear power, you have, just by the fact of having the weapons, a prominent place in the world. Do you see that Pakistan could play a role on a bigger scale, similar to the role where you're cooperating with the United States in searching for Osama bin Laden, fighting terrorism, in relation or it's important for them to know about your country that they might not know from reading the paper?
I would encourage people to understand Pakistan not just superficially and not just in terms of the war on terror, but from a deeper point of view, gain more of an insight into the country as it is. It's a beautiful country, the vast scope for tourism. The internal security situation has improved enormously. We are heading for a democratic transition. We are looking for a trade relationship with the United States.
And recently, the Pakistani economy has been developing quite significantly.
The economy has been, as I said earlier, one of the success stories of this government. It's taken an upturn, and all the economic indicators are positive. I mean, the growth rate has been phenomenal. It's been 8.4%, which puts us really in the category of the fastest growing Asian economies. So yes, there is a lot happening and vast opportunities for investment in Pakistan, especially for American investors. We've had American companies operating there for decades, Motorola, KFC, McDonald's, many pharmaceutical companies. So I think that's what we are looking at: trade, investment, more of an understanding. And wherever I go, I try and promote this image of Pakistan, and I think many others are doing the same.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Ambassador. You've given us, I think, a very full picture